Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today to remind you of a truth so simple, yet so powerful. It has moved mountains, built empires, and turned ordinary people into legends. Believe it's all possible. In the quiet recesses of your mind lies a force greater than circumstance, greater than doubt, greater even than failure itself. That force is belief, unshakable, unyielding, unwavering belief in your own potential. Without it, no plan can succeed. With it, even the impossible begins to bend in your favor. Every person who has risen above mediocrity has first believed they were meant to rise. They did not wait for the world to grant permission. They declared their purpose and dared to pursue it, even when the path was unclear. They understood that faith is not a mere wish. It is the foundation upon which all achievement is built. If you can hold a desire in your mind and nourish it with belief, that desire begins to stir the world around you. The subconscious mind accepts what you feed it, and when you feed it the certainty of your vision, it works day and night to make that vision real. It gathers people, ideas, and opportunities to your aid, not by magic, but by natural law. You will meet resistance. Doubt will whisper in your ear. Circumstances will test your resolve. But remember this: every adversity you encounter carries within it the seed of equal or greater benefit. Those who persist through failure, with belief still burning in their hearts, will one day see that every fall was a lesson, every delay a redirection towards something greater. Success belongs not to the lucky, but to the faithful, to those who see beyond their current condition and believe in the power of their own imagination. If you can see it in your mind and hold it with persistence, you are already halfway there. The world yields to those who dare to say, "It is possible, and I will make it so." So today, I challenge you, believe not in limitation, but in possibility, not in what you lack, but in what you are becoming. Because the moment you decide it's all possible is the very moment the impossible begins to retreat. Faith is the foundation of all achievement. Without it, effort lacks purpose and direction. Faith is not a blind hope or wishful thinking. It is a state of mind, a deep and unwavering conviction that what you desire is possible and that you are capable of attaining it. It is the fire that fuels persistence, the anchor that holds you steady when the winds of doubt blow, and the spark that ignites all forward motion in life. Every great success story begins not with action, but with belief. Before any invention, innovation, or victory, there was first the belief that such a thing could be achieved. That belief gave rise to thought, and thought gave rise to action, and through consistent, focused action, the belief took shape in the physical world. Faith, then, is the seed from which all success grows. If the seed is strong, the roots of achievement will run deep. Those who accomplish great things are not necessarily the most educated, the wealthiest, or the most talented. They are often those who possess the greatest belief in their vision and their ability to bring it into reality. They move with conviction, and that conviction influences others, inspires confidence, and opens doors that would remain closed to hesitation. The world has a peculiar way of making room for the person who knows exactly where they are going and believes they are meant to get there. Faith must begin within. No one else can give it to you. No external validation can substitute for internal certainty. A man or woman who believes in themselves is unstoppable. They may stumble, they may fall, but they will always rise again because their belief does not rest on outcomes. It rests on a deep knowing that no matter what happens, they will find a way. They see setbacks not as failure but as feedback. They do not dwell on the obstacle. They keep their eyes fixed on the goal. The mind, when directed by faith, becomes a powerful instrument. It sharpens your ability to focus, it strengthens your decisions, and it eliminates hesitation. You begin to act with speed, with clarity, and with determination. You no longer waste energy in doubt or fear. You understand that fear is faith in the wrong direction, faith in failure, faith in loss, faith in things going wrong. But just as you can believe in failure, you can train yourself to believe in success. It is a choice made every single day with every thought you entertain. Faith is developed through repetition. The thoughts you dwell on become the beliefs you act from. If you feed your mind daily with images of success, words of encouragement, and affirmations of possibility, your belief will strengthen. You will begin to see yourself as the person you wish to become. And when that self-image becomes real in your mind, it starts to shape your reality. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between truth and imagination. It acts on what you consistently impress upon it. If you affirm again and again that you are capable, worthy, and destined to succeed, your mind will begin to search for evidence to support that belief, and in time, the outer world will mirror your inner conviction. Many people fail not because they lack ability, but because they never fully believe they can succeed. They approach their goals half-heartedly, burdened by doubt, worried about judgment, fearful of failure. Their energy is scattered, their efforts inconsistent, but those who believe, they commit, they decide, and in that decision they create momentum. They attract the people, ideas, and opportunities that align with their belief. Their energy becomes magnetic. They radiate a confidence that others respond to, even if they cannot explain why. You do not need to know every step ahead of time. Faith allows you to begin before you are ready. It allows you to trust the process, to take the first step without needing to see the whole path. It replaces the question, what if I fail, with what if I succeed beyond my wildest imagination. It transforms fear into fuel. The person of faith sees opportunity where others see risk. They move forward even in the face of uncertainty because their vision is clear and their belief is strong. Belief also multiplies effort. When you believe your actions matter, you give your full energy to them. You work longer, push harder, think deeper, and recover faster. You are not merely going through the motions. You are driven by purpose. That kind of effort compounds. Over time, it builds unstoppable momentum. Mountains are moved not in one great push, but in consistent action backed by belief. Even when results are delayed, faith holds the vision steady. It is the bridge between desire and reality. Without it, most give up before they even begin. But those who keep believing, even when the world tells them otherwise, are the ones who eventually prove the world wrong. They become examples of what is possible when a human being refuses to accept limits and chooses, instead, to live by vision, by purpose, and by faith. To cultivate this kind of faith, you must guard your mind. You must be intentional about what you listen to, what you watch, who you surround yourself with. Negativity is contagious, but so is belief. Surround yourself with those who believe in big dreams, who speak with conviction, who lift others up rather than tear them down. Let their faith strengthen yours. Most importantly, speak to yourself with belief. The words you use matter. Stop declaring your doubts and start affirming your power. Say to yourself daily, I am capable, I am determined, I am becoming everything I was meant to be. These are not just words. They are commands to your subconscious, instructions to your mind, and energy to your spirit. In moments of challenge, remember this. Belief does not eliminate difficulty, but it gives you the strength to endure it. Faith does not promise a smooth road, but it guarantees that you will keep walking even when the road is rough. And often, it is in those very trials that you discover just how powerful your belief truly is. It is in the face of doubt that faith shines brightest. You were not born to doubt yourself. You were born with the capacity to believe, to act, to create, to overcome. That capacity is still within you, waiting to be awakened. The moment you choose to believe, truly, deeply, and unapologetically, is the moment everything begins to shift, not because the world changes overnight, but because you do. And once you change, once you believe it's all possible, the world begins to rearrange itself in response to your new reality. Definiteness of purpose unlocks possibility. It is the guiding star that gives your actions direction and your life meaning. Without a clear, definite aim, no amount of effort can bring you fulfillment or lasting success. You can be talented, hardworking, and intelligent, but if your energy is scattered, your results will always be limited. A definite purpose acts as a magnet that draws every part of you. your thoughts, emotions, decisions, and efforts into alignment. It gives you clarity, focus, and an unshakable reason to keep going, especially when the road becomes difficult. A person without purpose drifts. They move in circles, chasing after this opportunity or that, reacting to life instead of creating it. They are at the mercy of circumstance, but the individual with a definite purpose takes control. They do not hope for luck. They create conditions. They do not waste time on distractions. They filter every decision through the lens of their mission. Their purpose becomes their internal compass, keeping them steady even when storms of uncertainty try to shake them off course. Definiteness of purpose does not mean you must have every detail figured out from the beginning. It means you must know with absolute certainty what you want at the core. That central desire becomes the foundation upon which you build everything else. It informs what you study, where you go, who you associate with, and how you spend your time. It sharpens your vision and makes your thoughts powerful. The clearer the purpose, the more potent the results. When your purpose is definite, your subconscious mind begins to work in harmony with it. You start noticing opportunities that align with your goal. Ideas flow more freely. The people and resources you need begin to appear. This is not a coincidence. It is the natural result of focused intention. The mind cannot fully serve you if it does not know what you want. Once it does, it becomes your greatest ally. It begins to attract and create the conditions necessary for success. Many people fail not because they lack desire, but because their desire is vague. They say they want success, happiness, or freedom, but they have never taken the time to define exactly what those things mean to them. As a result, they chase shadows. They work hard but see little progress. They set goals that belong to someone else's dream. They live according to what others expect instead of what truly drives them. But once a person decides, this is what I will accomplish, their world begins to transform. A definite purpose also gives you resilience when challenges arise, and they always will. You will not retreat at the first sign of difficulty. Why? Because your purpose is bigger than the obstacle. You are not acting on impulse. You are acting from conviction. Purpose gives you a reason to endure, a reason to sacrifice, a reason to push beyond the limits you once accepted. It transforms discomfort into growth and failure into feedback. With every setback, you grow stronger, wiser, and more determined because you are not questioning if you should continue. You already know the answer. It is also true that definiteness of purpose inspires others. When you meet a person who knows exactly what they are working toward, you can feel their certainty. It is attractive. It commands respect. It draws collaborators and supporters who want to be part of something meaningful. People want to follow someone with vision. When you walk with purpose, you become a leader, whether you realize it or not. Your example becomes a signal to others that they, too, can define their own path and pursue it with boldness. To find your definite purpose, you must turn inward. What do you truly desire? Not what others have told you to want, but what stirs your soul. What would you commit your life to, even if it were difficult, even if no one else believed in it at first? What idea refuses to leave you alone? No matter how many times you try to push it aside, that is the beginning of purpose. It often starts as a quiet whisper. Your task is to listen and then decide. Once you decide, commit completely. Let your definite purpose become your master thought, the idea around which all others revolve. Speak it, write it, visualize it, affirm it daily. Let it become so ingrained in your mind that you cannot imagine living without working toward it. Then back it with a plan, and back that plan with action. Do something every single day that brings you closer to it. Momentum will build, confidence will grow, and what once seemed distant will begin to take form. Do not worry about how long it will take. Do not compare your progress to others. The speed does not matter, only the direction. When you are aligned with your purpose, time becomes your ally, not your enemy. Every hour, every challenge, every effort invested moves you closer to the realization of your goal. You are no longer guessing your way through life. You are building it, piece by piece, from the inside out. Definiteness of purpose also brings peace of mind. It eliminates confusion and reduces anxiety. You no longer have to chase every opportunity or fear missing out, because you know exactly what matters to you. You are not pulled in 1,000 directions. You are rooted. That rootedness becomes your strength. While others are distracted by noise, you are focused on your signal. While others drift with the tide, you are steering your own ship. In the end, everything you achieve will be the result of a single decision, the decision to be definite, to define what you want, to declare it boldly, and to pursue it with unwavering commitment. That is the gateway to possibility. That is how ordinary men and women rise to extraordinary levels. They are not lucky, they are clear, and once you are clear, everything begins to change. The subconscious mind accepts what you feed it. It is the silent force behind every action you take, every belief you hold, and every habit you build. Though it cannot reason like the conscious mind, it is infinitely more powerful in shaping your destiny. It does not question, it accepts. It does not argue, it records. It does not filter truth from fiction. It responds to what is impressed upon it, repeatedly and emotionally. Whatever you feed your subconscious mind, over time, becomes your reality. This mind does not differentiate between positive and negative thoughts. If you constantly tell yourself you are not good enough, it believes you. If you repeatedly say you are unlucky, it makes you feel and act accordingly. If you entertain fear, failure, and defeat, it aligns your perception and behavior with those ideas. The subconscious does not care if what you tell it is true. It simply turns those messages into patterns, habits, emotions, and actions. That is why guarding your thoughts is not just wise. It is essential for success. You become what you repeatedly think about, what you speak into your life, what you visualize, what you emotionally invest in. These are the seeds you plant in your subconscious. If you want to live a life of power and purpose, you must feed your inner mind with thoughts of strength, vision, and confidence. It is not enough to hope for change. You must deliberately program your mind for it. Just as a gardener chooses which seeds to plant, you must choose which thoughts to dwell on. The mind, like soil, does not care what is planted. It will grow weeds or roses, depending on what you sow. Repetition is the gateway into the subconscious. One affirmation said once will not take root, but when spoken, written, and visualized over and over, especially when charged with emotion, it begins to sink into the deeper levels of your mind. The thoughts you repeat become beliefs, the beliefs become attitudes, the attitudes shape your actions, and your actions produce your outcomes. If you are not pleased with your current results, look not at the world around you. Look at the mental diet you have been consuming. The subconscious mind is active even when you are not. While you sleep, it continues to process what you gave it during the day. It works behind the scenes, organizing your thoughts, guiding your instincts, and influencing the decisions you make without realizing it. If you fill your day with worry, it magnifies that worry in your rest. But if you fill your mind with determination, with gratitude, with belief in your ability to succeed, it strengthens those emotions and helps you wake up with a sense of direction. What you fear consistently, your subconscious begins to manifest. What you love consistently, it brings into your experience. If you think you are unworthy, it ensures you miss the opportunities that would have changed your life. But if you believe deeply that you are capable and deserving of success, your subconscious begins to pull people, resources, and events into your path that align with that belief. This is not fantasy. It is the natural consequence of alignment between belief and behavior. When you program your mind with empowering beliefs, you begin to act in ways that support those beliefs. Confidence breeds courage, purpose generates persistence, self-worth attracts respect, and all of it starts with what you allow to take root in the hidden chambers of your mind. If your life is not where you want it to be, it is not because you lack talent or opportunity. It is because you have allowed unworthy thoughts to take up residence in your mind. The good news is, you can evict them at any time and replace them with new, deliberate, powerful ones. The mind responds best to images. That is why visualization is so powerful. When you see yourself succeeding, clearly, vividly, and emotionally, you are speaking directly to your subconscious. You are giving it a command. If you repeat this image often enough, the subconscious begins to believe it is true. And once it accepts something as true, it works night and day to bring it about. This is why the greatest achievers in history used the power of imagination, not just talent. They rehearsed their success in the theater of their minds long before the world saw it. Words also matter. Speak to yourself with intention. The phrases you repeat become embedded in your being. If you constantly say, "I can't," you create resistance. But if you declare, "I am able, I am strong, I am becoming everything I was meant to be," you are not just talking. You are reprogramming your mind. Your voice is the most powerful tool you have because it speaks directly to your inner self. Make your inner dialogue your strongest ally, not your harshest critic. Emotion is the fuel. The subconscious responds most powerfully when a thought is connected to deep feeling. That is why we remember painful events so clearly. They were charged with emotion. But the same principle applies to positive feelings. When you visualize your goals, feel the joy of achievement. When you repeat your affirmations, feel the excitement of what is coming. When you dream, feel it as if it is already real. This emotional connection fast tracks the message into the deeper mind. Consistency is the final key. You cannot expect lasting change from a single burst of inspiration. Repetition, with belief and emotion, day after day, is what transforms the mind. That is how old patterns are broken. That is how new habits are formed. It may not happen overnight, but it will happen. The subconscious mind obeys the persistent commander. If you keep showing up, it will eventually follow your lead. Understand that your current self-image is nothing more than a reflection of the thoughts you have believed for years. If those thoughts have limited you, it is time to change them, not with force, but with conscious choice. Choose what you feed your mind. Choose to tell yourself a new story. Choose to believe in your own possibility, and feed that belief every day until your subconscious has no choice but to accept it. What you feed your subconscious is what you will eventually live. The life you dream of, the success you crave, the strength you admire in others, all of it can be yours if you first believe, and then feed that belief into the mind that never sleeps, never doubts, and never forgets. Once it is accepted there, the world outside begins to reflect the world within. Every adversity you face carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, waiting for your recognition and cultivation. When circumstances turn against you, when plans unravel and obstacles rise up before you like unscalable walls, it can feel as though the world itself conspires to defeat your ambitions. But those very trials are not punishments. They are the raw material of your greatest triumph. Each setback, each disappointment, each moment of frustration is a lesson in disguise, an opportunity to develop strength, insight, and resourcefulness that would never have emerged in the absence of challenge. Adversity tests your character, exposing weaknesses that require attention and forging resilience that becomes the bedrock of future success. When you are pressed by hardship, you learn to tap into reserves of patience and perseverance you never knew you possessed. You discover new strategies, new alliances, and new aspects of your own potential. The seed of benefit lies hidden in every problem, and it is your task to seek it out, nurture it, and transform it into advantage. Imagine adversity as a sculptor's chisel striking at a block of marble. Each blow may seem harsh, but it chips away the excess, revealing the beautiful form within. Without the chisel, the masterpiece would remain trapped, unformed. In the same way, adversity shapes you, removing complacency, sharpening focus, and driving you to refine your skills. It compels you to think creatively, to look for solutions when the obvious path is barred. It forces you to question assumptions, to adapt your plans, and to grow beyond the confines of your current abilities. No worthwhile achievement ever emerges from comfort alone. When the road is smooth, there is little incentive to push yourself farther, to expand your vision, or to innovate. Comfort breeds stagnation, challenge births progress. When you embrace adversity rather than resent it, you shift your perspective from victim to victor. You cease to ask why me, and begin to ask what can I learn. You stop seeing obstacles as blockades and start seeing them as stepping stones, each one a chance to climb higher, to look further, and to strengthen your resolve. Consider the inventor who endures failure after failure in pursuit of a breakthrough. Each experiment that does not work is not a defeat but a lesson in what does not work, guiding them closer to the solution that will ultimately revolutionize an industry. Consider the entrepreneur whose first venture collapses under economic pressure. The mistakes made in that venture become a priceless education, informing their next enterprise with wisdom that accelerates success. Those who refuse to learn from adversity remain trapped in its cycle. Those who extract its lesson harness its power. Adversity also tests the depth of your faith in yourself and your purpose. When everything is going well, belief in your mission is easy, but when challenges multiply, maintaining confidence becomes a deliberate choice. In choosing to believe that each setback contains a hidden benefit, you refuse to be defeated by circumstances. You assert control over your attitude and your response. You demonstrate that your spirit is unconquerable, not because the world conforms to your desires, but because you have decided to see every trial as fuel for your advancement. The benefits hidden within adversity are not always immediate or obvious. Sometimes the greatest reward is the growth that occurs unseen in the inner chambers of your mind and heart. It may be the development of patience, humility, or gratitude, qualities that cannot be acquired without the crucible of challenge. It may be the forging of relationships as you reach out for help, forge alliances, and discover the value of collaboration. It may be the discovery of new talents or passions you had never tested until the old paths were cut off. To uncover the seed within your adversity, you must refuse to succumb to despair and maintain a mindset of inquiry. Ask yourself, what is this experience teaching me? What strength or skill can I develop here? How does this obstacle point me toward a new opportunity I had not considered? By reframing your circumstances in this way, you activate the creative power of your mind, turning what appears to be a misfortune into a catalyst for progress. Moreover, adversity builds empathy and compassion, qualities that enrich your leadership and deepen your connections with others. When you have felt the sting of disappointment and the weight of struggle, you are better equipped to support and inspire those who face their own trials. Your story becomes a beacon, proof that the darkest moments can give birth to the brightest achievements. The benefit you harvest from your own adversity becomes a gift you can share, amplifying its value in the world. Resilience is not born of ease, it is forged in the heat of challenge. Each time you rise from a setback, you prove to yourself that you can endure, adapt, and ultimately prevail. You accumulate evidence of your own resourcefulness and courage. That evidence becomes a source of unshakable confidence, so that future adversities, while still formidable, no longer inspire fear but excitement, an invitation to learn, to grow, and to triumph once more. When you reach the pinnacle of success, look back and you will find that your greatest victories were paved with the trials you once wished to avoid. The obstacles became opportunities, the defeats became lessons, and the discouragement became determination. You will see that the world does indeed conspire in your favor when you learn to read the hidden language of adversity and translate its message into action. So do not resist the trials that come your way. Welcome them, seek out the benefit within each challenge, and let it guide you to higher ground. Understand that adversity is not your enemy, but your most powerful teacher. If you learn its lessons, you will find that every difficulty carries within it the promise of something greater than the obstacle itself, a promise of strength, insight, and success you would never have known otherwise. Faith and action, working together, form the unbeatable combination that brings every great dream into reality. Faith alone is powerful. It gives birth to vision, it fuels hope, it sustains the spirit when the evidence of success is not yet visible. But faith without corresponding action is like a fire without oxygen. It burns out before it can light the world. Action alone, without belief, becomes mechanical, aimless, or easily abandoned at the first sign of struggle. But when faith and action are united, they create momentum so strong that no obstacle can withstand it. Faith is the foundation. It begins in the invisible, in the mind, in the deep belief that something greater is possible. It is the ability to see with inner vision long before there is anything to show on the outside. It is the conviction that your efforts matter, that your goal is worth pursuing, and that unseen forces are working with you, not against you. Faith dares you to step forward before the way is clear, to speak success into existence before the world recognizes it. Faith does not wait for proof. It creates the conditions in which proof appears, but faith must be expressed through consistent, intelligent action. That is the law of creation. You cannot sit and wait for things to change. You must move. You must act as if the result you believe in is already forming, already responding to your energy. Action is the physical evidence of belief. It is the outward demonstration of inner certainty. When you act with faith, you send a signal to the world and to your own subconscious that you are committed, that you are ready, that you are aligned with your vision. The moment you act, doors begin to open. Resources appear, people respond, ideas come into focus, the invisible begins to take form, but none of this happens if you merely wish. Wishing is weak, faith is strong, and faith backed by action is unstoppable. If you truly believe something is possible, you must be willing to do the work required to bring it to life. The world yields its treasures to those who combine belief with boldness, vision with movement, dreaming with doing. Action without faith becomes exhausting. You work and strive but feel no purpose behind your efforts. You burn out because you're running on fear or pressure instead of conviction. But when faith is your engine, action becomes joyful, energized, and filled with meaning. Even in difficulty, you are not discouraged, because you trust that each step is bringing you closer to your goal. Even when the results are delayed, you persist, because your inner certainty is stronger than your outer circumstances. Faith also provides clarity in moments of uncertainty. It allows you to take the first step when the rest of the path is hidden. You do not need to see the entire staircase. You need only the courage to climb the first few steps. And as you climb, the next becomes visible. That is how progress works. The path reveals itself to the one who moves forward. Action calls forth direction. Faith keeps you walking. Together, they bring you through darkness into light. Those who accomplish great things are not always the smartest, the wealthiest, or the most experienced. They are the ones who believe deeply in their purpose and act on that belief every single day. They keep moving when others quit. They keep building when others doubt. They keep striving even when the reward is not immediate. And in time, their faith becomes fact, their dream becomes reality, their effort becomes legacy. You must become the kind of person who does not just believe when it is easy, but who continues to believe and act when it is difficult, when the evidence seems to contradict your vision, when the critics grow loud, when the fear creeps in. That is the moment when most give up, but that is also the moment when faith matters most. It is easy to believe after success. The secret is to believe before success, to act with commitment when nothing yet shows, to walk forward even when the way is uphill. This kind of faith does not wait for the perfect plan. It begins with what it has. It does not demand guarantees. It relies on inner knowing, and the actions it produces are not rushed or reckless. They are steady, deliberate, and driven by purpose. Each small step taken in faith compounds. Each consistent effort taken in faith builds a foundation, and over time that foundation becomes so strong that nothing can shake it. Not failure, not delay, not even fear. You were not born to live in hesitation. You were not meant to shrink from challenge. The power to shape your destiny is already within you, but it must be awakened through belief and expressed through action. Say what you believe, stand for what you desire, move toward what you see in your imagination. Let your belief show up in your habits, your persistence, your daily discipline. Let it be known not just in words, but in the evidence of your effort. No dream comes true by accident. It comes to those who claim it with courage, work for it with discipline, and pursue it with unwavering faith. The size of your dream does not matter. What matters is whether you truly believe it is possible, and whether you are willing to act on that belief every day, no matter how long it takes, no matter how far the distance. Faith and action, together, are the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be. Build that bridge step by step, and never stop walking.